And negatives have 3 to 9 times the impact on decision making. Why you won't make a deal with me is 9 times more important than why you will. Isn't that the opposite of all of your coaching in business? What are you supposed to do when you interact with someone in business? You're supposed to give them what? You're supposed to give them their value proposition, right? Isn't your value proposition proposing positives? It's got a third the effectiveness is diffusing the negatives. Labeling negatives does what? All right, so that's what we all feel. He said labeling negatives reinforces the negatives. It's the opposite. Labeling negatives diffuses negatives. Every time, every time, every time, every time, every time. Now, you don't like that for 2 reasons. First of all, you're thinking, well, if it reinforces positives, why doesn't it reinforce negatives? That's just logical. Secondly, you're going to say, oh, no, 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 it does not. Because every time I've tried to call out a negative, it's blown up in my face. And I had a PR guy once says, never introduce a negative, never introduce a negative. I don't know how many of you remember Richard Nixon when he resigned, but before he resigned, he stood up in front of the American public and said, I am not a crook. Did Nixon label the negative by saying, I'm not a crook? What did he do? He denied it. That's a 2-millimeter shift. Michael Vick is on a sports show a couple years ago. He's talking about another quarterback. And he starts out by saying, like, look, I don't want to make it sound like I'm disrespectful. And then he made his observation. As soon as he got off the phone, the announcer said, you know what, as soon as somebody says, I don't want to sound disrespectful, the next thing they're going to be is disrespectful. Imagine if instead Vic would have said, I'm sure it's going to sound disrespectful. Here's my opinion. Then he got off the phone and said, you know, that Vic guy's a straight shooter. So the 2-millimeter shift, and why we're so worried about negatives is because we've been used to denying them. You cannot plan a negative with a label. What if I say to you, seems like you don't like me. And at that point in time, you don't have that feeling at all. What's your reaction?
No, I like it.
You feel, oh yeah, I like you fine. You don't go, oh, now that you mention it, I do dislike you. This is our single most powerful skill. This is how we get out of this stuff so fast, so much faster than everybody else. This is how Derek is coaching people, diffusing negatives, and getting people to resolve deals in 7 days, 7 to 10 days max, that have been struggling with deals for months. I called him on the phone the other day, and I said, anybody you're consulting in a specific deal, have you coached anybody in any interaction that's lasted longer than 10 days? And he was like, yeah, I don't think so. Anybody more than 7 days? A couple might have gone over 7. 18 months of negotiations resolved in 7 days with this approach. It's insane. This is the insane superpower. This is why people are killing it.